Thousands of brave men and women who served in the United States Armed Forces have given their eyesight in defense of our freedom. And the Blinded Veterans Association wants to give them their freedom back. But it needs your help. Go to BVA.org to find out about how BVA's free programs, services, advocacy, and more help America's heroes to not just deal with the emotional and physical issues of sudden sight loss or impairment, but actually work to get them back to the independent lives they deserve to live. Go to BVA.org today.
You're listening to W4TB Radio from the Wisdom for the Blind Studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where we share some wisdom to help you navigate the seas to stay in calm waters. Please visit us on the web at w4tb.org or drop us an email at feedback@w4tb.org. You can also download the W4TB Radio app at the Apple Store or Google Play. Please share the knowledge and tell a friend. Now, back to the show.
You are listening to Share, the podcast that's all about helping empower the wisdom. From the Wisdom for the Blind Studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, here's your host, Mr. Douglas Cram.
Hello and welcome to Share the Wisdom. I'm your host, Doug Cram, and today we're talking with Sam Adler from Humanware. Sam, how are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. And how about yourself, Doug?
I'm doing very well, thanks. I want to start with a little personal information, if that's okay. Where were you born? Where did you go to high school? Where did you go to college? And what degrees did you get?
So I was born in Montreal, or near Montreal, in Canada. So it's a very French province, it's Quebec. So I speak French also. I went to school there, and all my school years I was fully sighted. So I went all the way up to a degree in engineering. It's equivalent to engineering here in the U.S., which is slightly different. But I went to school for mechanical engineering. Then I started working for Humanware 21 years ago. So I'm very happy, and I'm visually impaired, low vision. So I'm happy to work for Humanware because they have so many solutions, that I can count on when I work.
Did you play any sports in high school or college?
Yes, up north, we definitely played hockey. Hockey is a national sport up north. So hockey on ice, of course. And I played that when I was in college in a semi-friendly professional setting. But no football, no baseball, nothing of that sort. So I've been in the U.S. for, 7 years now? And I realized that the baseball is almost a religion here, football also. So I have to learn all about it, There's so much to learn.
Let me guess, are you a Montreal Canadiens fan or a Toronto fan?
I am a Montreal fan. There's actually the second to last game tonight. They did not make it to series. They're playing against the New York Islanders, so I'm going to watch that for sure. Yes, I love Montreal, even when they lose. And they always lose, believe me.
Yeah. Well, we'll be done in time for you to go to the game.
There you go.
What kinds of things did you do after college?
So I worked for a company called American Disc, and we did compact disc. I was in the printing department, and I traveled a lot. For that job, it was great. I worked for that company for 14 years. They eventually bought a company in California, so I worked in California for several months, and then they bought something in Miami, Florida. So for a Canadian to live in Florida or to work in Florida is a great privilege. So I was very fortunate. I went to Miami for a few weeks, and then they decided to hire me. So I worked there for 2 years in Miami, which is pretty good. And then after that, I lost my vision. So I returned to Montreal, and I learned many skills. For example, using the white cane, using CCTVs, Braille. Very important also. And then once I was closer to the low vision blindness industry, then I met up with a company called Visuaid. And at the time, Visuaid was a small company, and I started working for them at that point in 2002.
You've mentioned your visual impairment a couple of times. Can you talk about that?
Absolutely. So at the age of 26, I started losing my sight. I was driving back from Montreal to Miami, and I was driving a big truck. And, from one day to the next, one of my eyes just dropped off. And then the next one followed soon after. And when I went to so many doctors, or to visit doctors, they told me, Sam, you have a condition called Leber's hereditary optical neuropathy. Short is LHON, and you're going to be blind. So I thought my life was over, So at that point, I decided to go back to my home country, and I was going to retire. When I realized that there's so much out there, technology is advancing fast. So I was very happy to find a few devices that would help me read my email and read my mail and my cards. So it took me a few years, but holy smoke, I really appreciate those tools.
I'd never heard of that impairment. Is that a genetic disease of some kind?
It is. And it's a genetic, and it's also neurological. So there's nothing to be done. And some people, what they have, in your vision, you have central vision, which is in the middle. And then you have peripheral, which is on the sides. And some people lose the central vision, like myself, and that's called LHON. And other people have Leber's, but they lose the peripheral, so they only have central. And you can often see these people, they have difficulty with mobility. So I've seen a few of those. It's not a very common eye condition, but it is unfortunately genetic. In fact, my brother has it also. And my sister decided not to have children because she thinks it's harder to go through life being visually impaired, which I kind of disagree with.
I've never heard of that, Sam. I've heard of a lot of things, but I've never heard of that.
There are so many eye conditions, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been working in this industry for 22 years, and I'm still learning today about eye conditions, low vision, blindness, and how people lost their vision. So it's unfortunately, there's a lot of them.
Yeah. Now, you said that you've been working with Humanware for 21 years. What kinds of things have you been doing with Humanware?
Very good question. So originally, I was hired to work in tech support. That's why I know the products very well. And then eventually I merged into marketing. So I decided to market the products, especially in the US. And eventually I became a product manager. So the actual products for low vision were designed by myself and a team of people. So I think that they're very good because, Humanware, they had a low vision product manager for low vision products and a blind product manager for blindness products. So those are the two main lines. So basically, after 21 years, I've traveled the world. I've been to many places, but I love the U.S. And to tell you, Doug, I meet up with people, sometimes young students, and I love it. It gets me up in the morning to change their lives, It's really a great job. I love it.
Good. Now your title is an East-West sales manager. Is that correct?
Actually, I cover the East Coast. So there's 25 states that I cover in the U.S., from Florida all the way up to New York up north, all only on the East Coast. And in our company, there's a West Coast manager. His name is Kevin Hughes, and there's a Midwest that is Texas and the Midwest states, and his name is Paul Stevenson. So we're three that cover the U.S. and a big team around us, right?
Now, you also go down into South America, don't you?
I used to cover a lot of South America. I don't anymore, although I speak to them because I made many friends down there. So everything that has to do with Latin America, I enjoy a lot. I speak Spanish, but some of my colleagues are much more fluent than I. So when they have questions, they call me up, and I'm always having a blast with them. They're good people.
Now, can you name some of the distributors here in Florida that you work with?
Of course. So here in Florida, one of our important distributors for Central and South Florida and Puerto Rico would be Florida Vision Technology, and that's Lisa Kretschmer. So she's awesome. I mean, Lisa, I don't believe in box pushers, and Lisa is definitely not one of those. She gives the support, the training, and she sells a lot of other products, so that I appreciate. And the other person here in Florida would be Mike Hage from Emerald Coast Vision Aids. He's in Pensacola, and he covers the panhandle of Florida. So he's very good also.
Nothing here in Central Florida.
No, well, Florida Vision is a big company. They have an office there in Tampa, so they cover. Annika, one of the employees there, she does all the central part of Florida, and Jose will travel to the states that are requiring his service, so he's completely blind. Sometimes he goes to Georgia, and sometimes he's in Central Florida or South Florida. He's very good.
Jose is one of those special people. Like you said, he's totally blind, but he loves to travel. He's got I think a German Shepherd for a guide dog, and and he does not mind getting out there and traveling. He loves to travel.
He's amazing.
Yeah, he is.
And Jose, I like him a lot. He's a friend. He actually uses a lot of the products. So he's a very good user of products for the visual impaired and blindness.
Yeah, he did a podcast for us where he demonstrated the Hable 1.
The Victory Trek?
No. The Hable 1 and the Stellar Trek.
Yes.
Yeah.
I listened to those podcasts.
Yeah.
Wisdom for the Blind is dedicated to doing everything we can for the blind and sight impaired. If you'd like to bless us with a donation to keep the website, the podcast, the webinars, and the radio station operating, we can't express how grateful we'd be. You can go to the website at w4tb.org. That's w4tb.org and hit the donation button. Or you can mail it to Wisdom for the Blind Incorporated. Attention donations. 1005 Marine Mile Boulevard, Suite 255, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33315. Wisdom for the Blind is a not-for-profit 501c3 organization. Remember, it's tax deductible. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts at Wisdom for the Blind. Are you a big geek? Do you enjoy learning about new technology? Then join us on the fourth Thursday of every month for the Wisdom Geek Club at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can also hear a pre-recorded episode on Wisdom Radio every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. For more information, hit up w4tb.org and click on the Geek Club button on the main page. And don't forget to share the wisdom with a friend. You're listening to W4TB Radio from the Wisdom for the Blind Studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where we share some wisdom to help you navigate the seas to stay in calm waters. Please visit us on the web at w4tb.org or drop us an email at feedback@w4tb.org. You can also download the W4TB Radio app at the Apple Store or Google Play. Please share the knowledge and tell a friend. Now, back to the show.
Okay, Sam, we're back. Let's start talking about the Victor Stream Generation 3 now, if that's okay. Has the size changed from the 3 and the 2? Are they different sizes now?
I would say it's a bit smaller, so I do have a 2 in front of me and a 3. Looking at the 2, I say it's probably larger in size and taller than the 3, so it's a bit bigger, maybe 10%.
Now, the new Generation 3, that does not come with a silicone case, is that correct?
That's correct. So if you look in the box, the version 3, where there's a few things that we didn't add. So the silicone case, you're right, Doug, is not included. In fact, we don't have one. Rare were the people that were using it, so we decided not to provide one. And it's a very rugged device, and it's built. So we did not put that in the box. We didn't put also the small cable that relies that we use for the cartridges of the National Library of Congress. So that is not in the box. Some other things, for example, in the Victor Reader Stream 3 box, you will not find headsets. The reason is for that everybody has a pair, and the one that we provided were, so-so. So basically, we're not going to provide a pair of headsets for that use.
Right. Okay. Okay. Can you describe the unit? Has it changed since the Stream 2?
Yes, I can describe it. Basically, if you operated a Stream 2 or a Stream 1, for that matter of fact, you're at home. It'll take you 15 minutes to learn it. It's the same layout. The Stream 1 came out in 2007. It lasted for a few years. Stream version 2 came out in 2013 and lasted 10 years. And now we have Stream 3, which was released this year, early part of the year. In 2023. So I think the third generation is great. They've improved a few things. If you want, I can go through the product description if you'd like.
Yeah, absolutely.
And at the same time, I'll talk about the differences.
Okay,
great.
Absolutely.
So basically, if you look at the Victor Reader, it's the same layout as what you had before, and I'll separate this in a few different sections. So on the edge, on the left edge, where the power button is at the top on the left, that has remained round, and you have to press and hold to turn on, and it gives you one beep, and you press and hold and to turn it off, and it gives you two beeps, and it always takes 10 seconds or so. So you're safe with that. And then on the left edge, you have the up and down arrows for the volume, for the tone, or for the speed, which is very good. Now, one change on the left edge at the bottom is where the audio jack is. And basically, this is a microphone jack. We separated them. So on the Stream 2, they were together. The audio and the mic were together. And now on Stream 3, they're separated. So on the bottom left edge, you'll find a port, a 3.5 millimeter port for the audio jack input. So if you want to use the audio microphone, you can do that if you want to, but there's a built-in mic anyways. Then if we go at the bottom edge at 6 o'clock, that is very nice because in the dead center, instead of having a micro USB to recharge or to transfer files, which you had on the Stream 2, we now have a USB-C. So for recharge, it's very useful, and the battery can be recharged via USB-C, which we provide in the box.
Let me stop you there. That new battery, that's a lithium battery now, isn't it?
It is.
Okay.
It is.
Okay.
You're right. Now, in version 2, there was also a lithium battery. The difference is that in version 2, you could use or replace it. So you could flip a button and you can pull the battery off. And that was a bit complex and many issues with the battery. So on the version 3, we decided to have a non-replaceable battery. Now, some people complained about that, but to be honest, I think that's a good thing, because nowadays, most of the devices we own are non-replaceable batteries. You look at an iPhone, for example, you cannot change the battery yourself. So the battery is soldered on the device, on the stream, and it's much more solid that way. So it's better to have a built-in battery.
Okay.
Especially with the USB-C, that's great. The charge takes about approximately 3 hours, so it's fast enough charge. And the battery lasts 15 hours. And it's a 500 cycle battery. So if you look at the 500 cycles, if you charge it once a week, geez, you're good for years to go. And then after 500 cycles, so charge, recharge, charge, and uncharge 500 times, then it starts reducing a bit. So basically, you'll have this battery for years to come.
I think I'm in the category of those who probably charge their Victor Reader much more often than just a week. I think I probably charge mine maybe every 2 or 3 days. That only means that I'm reading a lot of books.
So do I. Or listening to a lot of podcasts. Yeah. I'm the same. I recharge it every 2 or 3 days. And believe me, the battery is amazing. It just lasts a long time. And it'll probably be cheap, So Humanware is a manufacturer. We're a company that manufactures our stuff. A Victor Reader is designed and manufactured by Humanware. So we can swap the battery in no time. We have it in stock.
Okay.
We'll see how that goes, but honestly, it's very good.
Okay. So keep going with your description.
So on the bottom edge, there's another audio jack on the left side, and that one is really the audio jack, 3.5 millimeter. It's full stereo, so even if there's a small speaker built in, you can use that audio jack to listen to your books or to your music in stereo. So that's very useful. And on the right side of the bottom edge is where the sound will come out. So the speaker used to be at the top in the center, and now on Victor Reader Stream 3, it is on the bottom at the left side, which is pretty good. And the speaker sounds great. You'll hear it in a few moments. It's amazing. Although it's small, because it has to fit in the palm of your hand, the audio is better. So I really appreciate the audio changes that they made.
Okay. Now,
then if you look at the right, oh, sorry, Doug.
Oh, that's okay. I was just going to ask you about the right side and then the top and the SD card. So go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So on the right side, it's simple. There's only one button. It's a record button, which I use a lot. So it is tactile, and at the same time, it has a small factor marker on it. And I'll show you how to use that. And on the top side, or the top edge, should I say, is where the SD card is. And there's been a few changes there. So with my Victor Reader Stream 2, I unfortunately dropped it many times. And then sometimes the SD card would pop out, and then you'd look for it. And if you're blind or visually impaired, good luck with that, you know. And now on the Victor Reader Stream 3, they put a rubber flap over it. And that's really good because, first of all, if you drop it, the SD card will always stay within the unit. And the other thing is it prevents all the dust and water. So I think that's a good thing. And it's easy to move aside to be able to put your SD card within the device. Previously, also on the Victor Reader Stream 2, we used to support 64 gigabytes. And now we support SD cards all the way up to 1 terabyte.
Wow.
So that's huge. Good luck with that. If you want to use a 1 terabyte SDHC, you're welcome to do so. It'll support it, but there's a lot of stuff that can fit on this. So I personally prefer a few SD cards, and I swap them out when I wanted to listen to music or to books, for example.
Yeah, that 1 terabyte.
The other thing, it's huge.
Yeah, I was just going to say that 1 terabyte SD card. That's really huge.
Yes, and you know, 1 terabyte is pretty big, so you know it's fast. The SDHC, you know, once you've done one round on the card, within a few seconds it tells you what the content is. So it's very fast. You know, the indexing is quick.
Yeah.
The nice thing about this device, the Stream 3, is there's also 32 gigabytes of built-in storage. So that's great. I mean, basically, Doug, you can use this device without an SD card, and it will work fine.
What?
And there's no, excuse me, go ahead.
What amount of storage did the Stream 2 have?
8 gigabytes.
8 gig. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So now you have 32. And it's not all usable because the software is on it, so that's all right. But at the same time, you have a lot of storage built in, and nowhere in the menu it says, "Hey, should you use internal storage or SD card storage?" I've never had any issues. It does it all automatically, so it's great.
Now, I want to go back to the battery for just a minute. With
Sure.
the Stream 2, if you had a problem, you could take the battery cover off and then put the battery back on and then reset your player. How, if you have a problem and need to do a hard reset, how do you do that now?
The hard reset on the Stream 3 is simple. You press and hold the power button for 10 seconds, and it resets the whole device. And to be honest, Doug, there's a lot of people that pull the battery out, and then they swap the batteries, and then the unit eventually would be very confused because some batteries are full. The amperage or the voltage for some batteries was not the same as the others. So it created a bunch of issues. You won't have that anymore.
Okay. Now, I know the Stream 3 has these rubber-coated buttons. How do you like those?
You're right. I love them. They take some getting used to. So if you want, I can cover the front face of the device. I have a very simple way of operating the unit. So once you go through this, you'll see it's very simple. The buttons are rubbery, so they're not plasticky anymore. They have very good tactile markers on them. So the 5, for instance, has 2 tactile markers. The 2 and the 8, which are the up arrow and the down arrow, have tactile markers also for up arrow and down arrow. And the 4 and the 6, so left and right, and they have tactile markers also. So very nice rubber buttons, good feel to them. And the fact that they're rubbery, I think it also prevents dust and all kinds of usage or problems with the previous keyboards that we had. They've been resolved with the new layout. So I definitely think that the improvement there is a good thing. But like I said earlier, basically it's the same thing, the same layout as a Stream 2 or Stream 1. So at the top you have 3 function keys, and then in the middle you have your numeric keypad, and at the bottom you have the play, stop, fast forward, and rewind. So it's very simple to use. There's a few things. And believe me, I mean, we can spend like 12 hours. This thing does so much. It's unbelievable. So I use it for a few things, and some things I'm probably not the expert. So sometimes I have to call tech support or talk to the product manager to see, do we support this or that? The device does a lot, But what we call it internally, the Stream 3, it's a handheld digital audio player. That's really what it does.
Okay. Let's talk about the voices that we were talking about before.
Sure. So the Victor Reader 3, the Stream 3, is basically only in the U.S. So right now, as we speak, there's only English North America. So only one language. Now on the 17th, there's going to be a free update, and that's going to bring 9 more languages. It's automatically going to install. So if you're interested in Spanish or Swedish or Norwegian, I mean, we have those. We'll have those from the 17th on, and you can swap those. So previously, you used to go to the website and download a package that contained 2 a cappella voices, right? So now we have them built into the device. So basically, you don't have to go to the website. If you want your first language to be English North America female, that's fine. And from the 17th on, then you'll be able to have Spanish or French and male. And that'll be accessible by 1 key. So that's coming up very soon.
Okay. Do you want to demonstrate a few features?
I absolutely do. Okay. So let me turn mine on. So you can hear the famous 1 beep, and then welcome to Victor. So right now I'm playing the device maybe 2 feet away from me. It's in front on my desk. It's got very good rubber feet. And you can see the speaker is loud enough. It'll speak just in a moment.
Welcome to Victor Reader.
Welcome to Victor Reader. And now it's indexing.
Podcast.
So the last thing.
6. Podcast feeds. 4. Share the wisdom. Douglas Cram. 5. New episodes.
Douglas, you must be very happy. That's the last thing I listened to. The podcast and your podcast, basically. So we'll go through that in a few things. But I would like to give a description. So right now I'm playing at...
Wi-Fi connected.
There goes my Wi-Fi. And you can see the a cappella voice is very good. I can speed it up to 3 times the voice speed, or 1/3. I can slow it down to 1/3 speed if I want to. I can change voices. I can change the tone, the treble. I can change the volume. So the volume goes up to 20 increments and goes all the way down to 0, which is mute. So that's awesome too.
So the volume,
I probably wouldn't mute it though.
The volume up actually goes a little higher than the Victor Reader Stream too.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Speed. Tone. Volume.
So I'm going to go to the volume.
Volume.
And I'm going to press the up arrow.
Volume 20.
So that's my volume 20.
Volume 9. Volume 15.
There's 15. So you can see that there's a change in volume. I usually,
Volume 19.
on podcasts and all kinds of demonstrations. I leave it maxed out to 20, but I also have an external speaker that I use. So what's really cool with the Victory Stream 3 is that you can use external Bluetooth speakers. So that's great. Often when I listen to some books, I'll connect to my Bluetooth speaker, and I'll use my speaker to output instead of the built-in speaker. So that's great.
Living with vision impairment means you need as many advantages as you can get, which is why Wisdom for Blind Youth will be providing a monthly Zoom-like event aimed at helping vision impaired or blind youth 17 old or under. Various topics related to children will be discussed. Remember, the earlier someone gets help for their vision impairment, the more they can develop strategies for navigating life. Get signed up today. Go online to w4tb.org/treehouse. And don't forget to share the wisdom and tell a friend. Veterans deserve as much help as they can get. They put their lives on the line for their country, and yet there's still an ongoing mental health crisis among military veterans that needs to be addressed. Well, if you're a veteran who wants the support of fellow veterans and to support fellow veterans, join Wisdom for the Blind's Cup of Joe virtual coffee and chat. It's low-key, fun, and gives veterans an outlet to talk with others who fully understand what they're going through. Get connected at Wisdom for the Blind's website, w4tb.org/cupofjoe.
You're listening to W4TB Radio from the Wisdom for the Blind Studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where we share some wisdom to help you navigate the seas to stay in calm waters. Please visit us on the web at w4tb.org or drop us an email at feedback@w4tb.org. You can also download the W4TB Radio app at the Apple Store or Google Play. Please share the knowledge and tell a friend. Now, back to the show.
Okay, Sam, we're back. Can you talk about some of the other features on the Stream 3?
Sure, absolutely. So again, this is a beginner's podcast, but you're welcome to ask any question, Doug. If you feel like if they're coming up naturally, let me know. So basically, I like to separate the front face into two sections. So the top section is 3 buttons. That is really the function section, and then you have the keypad or the numeric keypad, which is in the middle of the device. So each number has its own function. And below that, you have the play stop or play pause and fast forward and rewind on each side. The sleep button is something that, is always there. I use once in a while, so I'll talk about that in just a few moments. So let me go into key describer. So I'm going to press and hold 0.
Key describer on.
There we go. So now it says key describer on in English. So if I press a button,
Go to.
So at the top, like I said, there's 3 buttons. I just press the square tactile button, and that's a go-to. If I press the round one,
Online features.
online or offline, so it's really the toggle button, and then the diamond shaped, which is on the top right,
Bookmark.
bookmark
Press
button.
and hold to insert a bookmark.
And sometimes the key describer is very useful because I tend to forget some of the keys. And I mentioned the 2 and the 8 on the keypad, so here's 2.
Scroll up. 2.
And the 8,
Scroll down. 8.
and then the 4 and the 6, which are the left and the right. So here's 4,
Move back. 4.
and here's 6.
Move forward. 6.
Now each button, like I said, they have different functions. If I press 7, for example,
Menu. 7.
menu. And if I press the pound key,
Confirm. Pound.
the confirm. And here's the play stop, which is all the way at the bottom at 6 o'clock.
Play. Stop.
See? And if I press the rewind,
Jump backward.
and if you press it,
Rewind.
okay, thank you. So if you press and hold it, it goes by increments of 1 minute behind, and then 2 minutes behind, and then 5 minutes behind, and 15, and 5 minutes more, 20, 25, 30, and so on. So it's very fast navigation directly through the devices. So I'm going to turn the,
Key describer off.
there we
4.
go.
Share the wisdom.
So
Douglas Cram.
5.
that's the last thing I was listening to. If I press the round button at the top at 12 o'clock, which is on the function side, it goes between online
Offline bookshelf.
and offline.
Talking books.
If I press it
6.
again,
Online bookshelf.
And again.
Offline bookshelf.
So it toggles between two of them.
6 books. 4.
Eon's principle.
So 2 things on the Victor Reader stream, the online and the offline. Which means if I'm offline, I'm taking a walk, don't have access to Wi-Fi, which is built in, then whatever's there is available. And that can be your SD card, it can be podcasts that you saved, or radio stations that you saved, or recordings, or talking books that you saved. Anything that's offline, you can use. And I use that a lot when I'm taking a walk, for example, or when I'm riding the bus. And if you look at the Victor Reader Trek, which I have here also, which is the entertainment system that the stream has, plus a GPS, it's a bit thicker, but this round button at the top, it basically goes between online, offline, and there's a third one, which is orientation. And then it goes round and round. So that round button is very important. Right.
Let me ask you.
And then you.
Let me ask you a couple of questions.
Sure.
The Wi-Fi, is that 5G now on the Stream 3?
It is. Okay. So it's compatible with 2.4 and 5, and it connects very well to the 2.4. I actually have mine connected on a 2.4 host or guest network, and it works well. And I tried it on the 5, and it works well also.
Now, is that speeding up downloads at all?
It helps. It helps with the stability mainly. So the speed depends of your internet, right? And the size of the book. But the more it's towards 5 gigahertz, it's very stable. So you can download a book and no interruptions. It's very fast and it's very stable. The 2.4, it's a little less stable. So it could happen that, you have an interruption, and don't worry about that. If it happens, it'll stop. It'll stop downloading. It'll tell you, and then it'll resume where it left off. So it's very smart, in one sense.
Now, I understand going from the online bookshelf to the offline bookshelf. How do you get to Bluetooth?
So the Bluetooth is built in. It's in the menus. So if I press 7, you'll go under wireless, and then you can set up your Wi-Fi. And through Wi-Fi, you can download books, you can download updates, languages, voices. So all that is done through Wi-Fi. And under wireless, you'll also find Bluetooth. So if I press 7...
Menu, no local settings, general settings.
Oh, I'm probably in offline right now. I'll try it out and see.
Navigation and wireless.
There's wireless, so I'll press the pound key.
Airplane mode, off.
My airplane mode is turned off, and I can turn it on by pressing and holding the round key if I want to. Wi-Fi. Bluetooth. The Bluetooth is version 4.2. So some people said, hey, why didn't you put Bluetooth 5? But right now we're not using any one of the features. The chip was more expensive, and it basically did nothing. So we decided to go with 4.2, which is more than enough.
Okay.
I'll exit the menu.
Wireless. Leaving menu. Internet radio.
Perfect.
Internet radio. 2. Playlists. 1. Favorites.
Now,
it resumed to my favorites.
I have heard that the Stream 3 will announce the book that you're downloading.
Yes, it does.
How do you do that?
So if I go, press and hold the pound key. So if I press and hold the pound key.
Battery powered. 83%. No downloads.
So right now I'm not downloading anything. Yeah. If I was downloading a podcast or a book, it would tell me. And the other thing is the battery. So instead of pressing 0 and then the right arrow many times to hear the battery power, you can press and hold the pound key, and it tells you that.
Can you talk about some other features?
Absolutely. So let me go back, and I'm going to press the round key, and I'm going to go to offline bookshelf.
Offline bookshelf.
There we go. And then I'm going to press number 1 to go through the bookshelf. Now I have some content.
References. Podcast. SIP. Internet radio. Chip. Offline bookshelf.
Sorry about that.
Other books.
Other books.
Book 1. Music 1. Book 1. All music.
My music.
Save podcasts. 3. Episodes 3.
Podcast share the Wisdom 5_ in Sigdon Cable 1 and Stellar Trek.
So
MP3.
That's one of the podcasts that I like to have offline so I can listen to it later.
Text files 3. Files 3.
Diana Wynn Part
Notes 2. Notes
2.
Talking books 6. Books.
I'm going to talk to
The Oz Principle.
talking books. So if I press number 1 over and over again, I'm going to go through the same thing in loops that you just heard right now. So number 1 is your bookshelf, and it goes offline. So it's going to show everything that's offline. If there's no content, it will not announce that category. So for example, if I don't have talking books, none, then it's not going to say talking books. It's just going to skip it. So it's smart enough to only announce what has contents, except for notes. So notes, we always announce that to be able to have one category available. So if I press and hold 1, right now I'm on talking books, but if I press and hold 1,
Entering user guide.
the user guide is built in. So for blind people,
Enter stream user guide.
thank you. For blind people, there's nothing like having a built-in user guide, so that way you can practice. So by pressing and holding 1, just like you did on stream version 2 and version 1, we build in the user guide in the languages you selected. So if I go to press the square button on the top left.
Go to heading.
So right now it's in heading mode. If I press it again,
Go to percent.
I'm going to go to percent, so 1%,
1.
and then pound key,
1%.
and then play.
Physical description of Victor Reader stream. 1, 2, 1 front face of the player. The face of the player can be divided into upper and lower sections.
I'm going to stop it. So I just press the play pause. So basically the user guide is there. If you want to speed it up, you can. It's very nice to use the functions. And I use it also for practice. So this is in DAISY format. So if I press 8, which is down arrow.
Screen. Line. Sentence. Bookmark. Word. Spell. Character. Level 1. Level 2. Level 3. Level 4. Level 5. Screen.
So it goes round and round. 2 and 8 basically go round and round to navigate the books that you have. So if someone says, I want to go to chapter 1, then I find level 1.
Level 5. Level 2. Level 1.
And then I press the right arrow, which is 6.
2 basic functions.
Oh, there's number 2,
2.1
chapter
changing
2.
volume. 3 numeric key
Chapter
functions.
3.
4 direct
Chapter 4.
navigation. Go to key 4 direct
Very
navigation.
nice. So I can navigate this. If I want to go to 4.1, which he already did,
Go,
Level 2.
go to page
then I can go to 4.2,
4.2, go to heading.
4.3.
It allows you to enter a heading number relative to the start of 4.4, go to
Now
percent.
let me ask you a question.
Sure.
I heard the word spell. Does that have a spell feature on it?
It does. So if you're, for example, in a book or on a word and you want to have the spelling, you can have it spelled in 2 different ways. You can have the letters. You can also have the, I call it in French, the echo spelling. So basically it says, E like Echo, C like Charlie, H like Harry. So there's always some specific words that they use for each letter, right? So very nice to use. There's also a dictionary built in, so you can go online and find what's the meaning of this word. And there's Wikipedia also. So if you want to hear what is the sense of this or what is the history of it, you can go into Wikipedia online directly on this device.
That's
So it's very
that's called phonetics, I think.
Oh yes, there you go.
Okay.
Thank you, Doug.
Well, that's nice. I've been asking for a spell feature for a long time on the Victor Reader.
Oh yeah, the 3 has a few different features. I mean, basically, like I said, if you own a 2 before, you'll feel like at home with the 3. There's a few differences. I'll show you one, for example. If I exit the user guide,
Exiting user guide.
I'm going to press and hold.
Books. 6 books.
So there's 6 books.
The Oz Principle.
I'm going to press and hold the sleep button.
2:22 p.m. April 12th, 2023.
So before we used to press it once and it would tell us the time and the date. Now you have to press and hold it. If you press and release,
Sleep 15 minutes. Sleep
A second
30
time?
minutes.
a third,
Sleep 45 minutes.
A fourth.
Sleep 60 minutes. Sleep off.
A fifth. So I always leave it as sleep off. And the reason for that is that if you leave the sleep at 15 minutes, then you can doze off and you don't lose your last position because the device remembers where you left off. And it doesn't do the loud double beeps. It just goes off, which is really cool. So the sleep function is very nice. But you've noticed that you have to press and hold to have the date and the time, which is pretty good. So you can be reading and say, hey, what time is it? Press and hold the sleep timer button, and it gives you the day and the time that you are actually. And you can customize that. You can change it for advanced time, for whatever time zone. You can change the times if you want to. If you want to go back 5 minutes, you're welcome to do so. I mean, it's fully customizable.
Now, I know you can access Bard, Bookshare. Is Audible coming at any time to the Stream 3?
So, Doug, basically, I'm going to go through the bookshelf here and talk a bit about the different...
Other books. 1.
So,
book
other books...
1.
Blind Yoginu.
I have a few other books, and basically we support books in MP3 and different other formats. So sometimes books are pre-recorded in various, languages or different formats, but not in DAISY. So you can put them in under other books, and basically we'll show them as you go through in the list. If I press 1 in the bookshelf,
music 1.
There's your music.
1. All music.
I don't use this device for music. I use other products, but this can play music in stereo with headsets. So I use, for example, my AirPods with noise cancellation on Bluetooth. And once you get the pairing, you can listen to music in stereo, which is really nice. And you can have playlists, which is awesome also. And we support several formats of music. And also, which one thing that's really fun about this is you can have albums, you can have playlists, you can have, whatever you decide to categorize the device, it will bring up your music in whatever you decided. So that's pretty cool.
Now, you're still using uTunes for a search, aren't you?
Podcast Share the Wisdom 5 _ in Signal 1 and Stellar Trek.
So this is a podcast that I downloaded in MP3 under my Wi-Fi, but I wanted to listen to it while I was on the go, so offline. So what I did is I took the podcast from my online and I moved it to offline and saved many of them. So when I'm taking my walk, I can listen to podcasts and change the speed if I want to and bookmark them and so on. And they're now offline, so I don't need to be connected. So you know what podcast I will be listening to very shortly.
Now,
text files.
There's my text files.
3.
Is that still using uTunes for music search?
So under my text files, we support several formats. So it can be a docx file, it can be a BRL, a BRF, a TXT, an RTF, EPUB. Whatever text file you have, you put it under text, and we'll be able to read that with the text-to-speech engine. And if I press 1 again,
notes.
There's my notes.
Notes.
2.
So I love the recording. Let me press the record button, which, if you remember well, it is on the right edge.
Start recording.
There we go. So now it's recording everything that I'm saying with the built-in mic. And you can record for hours on end. It's a huge SD card. If you have a 1 terabyte, you can probably record for weeks on end without interruption if you want to. So it's a very good recorder. I'm going to stop the recording.
Stop recording. Note 3.
There you go. So I'm going to play that by pressing the play button.
Call Sam Adler at 407.
And press the 6.
3.
So now it's recording everything that I'm saying with the built-in mic. And you can record for hours on end. It's a huge... So it can go on, and you can bookmark this if you want to, because you want to jump to special places. And the bookmark function will probably be improved as we go. So in the next features or in the next free versions that you download, you might see categories, and you might be able to label your bookmarks or your notes vocally if you want to. So there's going to be a few improvements there. That's very nice. Yeah.
I took a musket ball in Chancellorsville.
Hi, I'm Mike Byer, Executive Director for Operations Zone. where we pair Nashville's songwriters with veterans, active duty military, and their families to tell their stories through the process of songwriting. Our services are 100% free, and songwriting or musical talent is not required. For more information, check us out at operationsong.org. If you think this is something you're interested in, email us at contact@operationsong.org.
Till the last Monday in May.
Do you enjoy a good read? Or do you enjoy sharing new books with friends? Then join us on the second Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Wisdom Books, a virtual book club just for the blind or visually impaired. You can also hear a pre-recorded episode on Wisdom Radio every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. For more information, go to w4tb.org and click the link Wisdom Books for more information. And please don't forget to share the wisdom. You're listening to W4TB Radio from the Wisdom for the Blind Studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where we share some wisdom to help you navigate the seas to stay in calm waters. Please visit us on the web at w4tb.org or drop us an email at feedback@w4tb.org. You can also download the W4TB Radio app at the Apple Store or Google Play. Please share the knowledge and tell a friend. Now, back to the show.
All right, Sam, we're back. You wanted to continue with some of the online, was it? Okay.
Sure. Yes. So let me press the round key to toggle to online.
Online bookshelf.
There we go.
Internet radio.
So the first thing you heard was internet radio.
Favorites.
So I have my favorites there. I'll press the number 1 to go through the bookshelf.
References. 0. Books. Podcast. 6. Podcast feeds. 4.
Share the wisdom.
Internet radio.
There's
2.
number 1 again.
1. Favorites. References. 0.
And I go round and round.
Podcast.
So if you had let me stop this.
Douglas Cram.
5. New episodes.
I like how you keep announcing
So if you had
that
the online
podcast,
books,
Sam.
yeah, I hear that. I kind of I like the podcast. It's very good. It's very useful. Probably learn a bunch more. On iTunes, there's a bunch of podcasts. There's probably like 10,000 of them. So if you want a particular podcast, you can search it and listen to them if you want to. It's really cool. I love podcasts. But as you've noticed, I've been using one for the bookshelf, so I've been going through. And one of the categories there would be online books. So if I download a book from National Library of Congress or from Bookshare, which I got the keys, then I can download the book online. I can read the book online and stream it, or I can download it to the offline bookshelf, and it becomes a book that I have on my device on my SD card. So very useful. Same thing for podcasts. You know, I listen to podcasts all around the world, and I download some podcasts. Let me see here.
5.
Ted Ed.
3.
Ray.
2.
La Pouch Bluey.
That's in French.
23.
3. New episodes.
So I listened to a French podcast that I downloaded from the web. It's free, and I listened to it in French. You know, it's very good. I can listen to Spanish podcasts, Japanese podcasts. It doesn't matter. As long as they're available, you can download it. And if you like one of them, you can bring it to the offline bookshelf and save it, and then listen to it while you're on the go. So that's very useful.
Now, do you think Kindle and or Audible will come to the stream?
Yes, I think so. We used to have Audible, and they broke something, so Audible broke it. And unfortunately, we lost them for a longer time. But I know that our product manager is speaking to them as we speak, and hopefully Audible will fix it. And if not, it will be very clear that, you know, we won't support the feature, but I'm hoping that they would. That would be nice.
Now, uTunes or OOTunes, I've heard that has gotten better as a search engine.
They have. So they've grown a lot. I found a lot of podcasts that you can, or radio stations on OTunes, so that's great. And we're probably going to add other services. So stay tuned as we go. They're free. So everything on the stream is going to be free upgrades for life. So definitely worth it to upgrade. And every time you'll be able to have a new user guide under press and hold 1, and then be able to read what's new under the What's New document.
Anything else that you'd like to cover?
I just wanted to mention a few things. So, for example, there's also going to be a tutorial. So we're going to have a free tutorial online that you can download and save it to your SD card. So that will be something nice. There's so much, to cover on the stream, but it does a lot. It's a media player, so it plays music and books and other books, and there's so many formats. You can't review all of that, so it's good to have an online download where you can download the tutorial. The other things, that you go with what you need. That's what I tell people, We've sold so many of these devices, it's unbelievable. And they're very tactile. They're made for blind users. So you don't need to see there's no LEDs or lights on the device on the front face. So, you're welcome to use it as much as you want, and just use what you need. The rest of it, later on, it's okay.
Now, I haven't asked you before, but I'd like to ask you now to mention the Humanware website and the phone number if you can.
Absolutely. So our Humanware website is www.humanware.com. That's our website. And if you go under blindness products, you'll find the Victor Reader Stream, so you could buy it there if you want to. There's also a 0% no interest on the website, so it's definitely worth it. But most of our dealers, they also have the Victor Reader Stream, so please call them if you can. And if not, you can call also our customer service. It's 1-800-722-3393. So we have free customer service and free tech support. So if ever your unit has an issue, call our free tech support, and that way they'll be able to walk you through installing a key or whatever you need, or issues that you may have with the device. They will be able to help you for sure.
Now, in your 20 years of blindness and working at Humanware, you also work with teachers and blind centers. Can you talk about that?
Sure. I've worked with many teachers for the visually impaired, TVIs. They're awesome. They're dedicated people. And quite often they cover many students, Some of my students go from 3 years old to 103. It's unbelievable. And I love to work with students because they love to learn. And for them, it's not just a product, it's really a solution, like I mentioned earlier. So I enjoy that. I also work with the VA, so veterans, people that are less technical. I work with all kinds of people. So private pay users, rehab, you name it. I worked with everyone, so it's a great challenge to. Every time I meet a new client, it's like I have to ask them 10 questions before, so I get to know the person and I know exactly where to go.
How much enjoyment do you get in improving someone with a visual impairment, improving their lives?
I get a lot. It gets me up in the morning. It's basically, like I mentioned, some people see our products as products. I see them as tools. And sometimes, we don't have the right tool. Other companies do, so that's fine. I'm visually impaired myself, so, some of the products from Humanware are great, and some are just not the right fit for me. Others are. So, believe me, it's a great pleasure to always work with visually other blind or low vision people. Always.
And you enjoy using the required tool to achieve tasks. Can you talk about that?
Some of them. So, for example, on my desk right now, I have a Connect 12, which is the low vision smart magnifier. And my eye fatigue kicks in really fast. So I need to listen to what I capture. So sometimes I get mail from the mailbox, and I want to know who sent me the mail and what the mail is. I'll capture it and have it read aloud. Other times I'll use the Reveal 16. which is the intelligent version of the CCTVs that we have. I know how to read Braille, so sometimes I'll read Braille. I'll use the embosser line, or I'll use the Braille Note Touch for my ABCs, the BI-20, the BI-40. I get all the toys, so I'm really lucky. I go out for walks. I use the Victor Reader Trek, which is a great product. Sometimes I use the Cellar Trek also, so I know that product also. Great devices, That's how I learned throughout the years, all the different products available.
Must be nice to get all the new toys.
Sometimes it's not easy. I'm more of a client than a salesperson, so if it doesn't work for me, I will be kind of loud. I'm a user first. So, and sometimes they don't work. Issues are big enough that for me, it's like a showstopper, especially that I was a product manager before. So I'm very critical, and I can say the Humanware is listening carefully to what we have to say. So the product managers are great, and the R&D team, the developers, they're smart people. So sometimes I get to play with beta devices, and other times I just don't have time. I'm traveling, so then they send me the new toys, and I get to play with them for sure.
Okay, anything else about your work with the visually impaired or the Trek Gen 3 or Humanware?
Basically, if you get a chance, Humanware is almost in all the shows. We have local dealers also, so if you want to get your hands on a Trek version 3 or a Stream version 3, should I say, we always have them there at the booth. There's also the Trek, so it's an entertainment system plus a GPS, which is pretty good. The Cellar Trek, which is the GPS device without the entertainment, that's pretty awesome, and it's got 2 cameras, so that's going to be improved very shortly. Right now, it has a great OCR device. Doug, you and I both have probably opened cans before, and then we're playing the game, guess what it is, right? And very shortly, there's going to be a barcode reader, which means I'm going to capture the can, and then it's going to tell me, hey, Sam, this is a can of beans. Well, maybe I don't feel like beans today. So that's going to be great. So 3 great products, and Victor Reader Stream 2 we're done with it. So in the US, there's only the 3. So if you own a Victor Reader Stream 2, you might enjoy the device. If you want the newest and greatest, then go for the Stream 3. The retail price is $550, so it's a bit more expensive, but it's really worth it. I've been using it for weeks now, and it's not perfect, but it works very good. I love it.
I like the looks of that Stellar Trek, where GPS will get you to about 40 feet from the door. That Stellar Trek will take you right to the door. I like that.
Yes, it's very nice. I go out for walks every morning, and I put a few landmarks here and there. Often the landmarks you create are within a foot, so they're very precise. And you can drop as many as you want. You have 4 seconds to record what it is, so it's a fire hydrant or a low-hanging tree, you name it, right? And the cameras are in the back are fun, so sometimes I take pictures and it'll say, hey, the door is 27 feet on your left at 11 o'clock. Well, I know exactly where the door is, so I'm going to use my mobility skills and my cane to go around and not step on the grass, but I know exactly where the door is and what the address is, so I'm going at the right place. Yes, the Cellar Trek is a great product.
Talk about the things that you like to do away from Humanware and away from work, traveling, hiking, automotive, reading books. Talk about those things.
I'm visually impaired, but I love cars. So I can hear a car 100 feet, 200 feet away, and when they start, I know what it is. I love cars. My son just bought himself a German car, so I love the sound of it, and I enjoy different cars that are manufactured. It's very close to our business, so it's good to follow up on that. I also love sports, so especially hockey. So I definitely follow all the teams there. And I love going up mountains. I'm visually impaired, but my wife is fully sighted. So we go up mountains quite regularly. And I always enjoy going up a new mountain. So if you have them in your neck of the wood, definitely that's something I do. And my wife and I travel a lot. often by car. I prefer traveling by car. I rather sit in a car for 6 hours than sit in an airport for 6 hours. So, especially nowadays. So my wife that's fully sighted will drive, and she loves driving, and I sit on her side, and I'm the co-pilot, so I tell her where to go and how to get there, and while she's driving, I work. So it's always a lot of fun there.
Also says you like doing CrossFit.
Yes, so my son basically is the fifth fittest man in the world. So his name is Jeffrey Adler, and he's very strong, so he does a lot of CrossFit. He owns some gyms here in Florida, so he comes occasionally to visit. I have a full gym, so every morning I work out. I try to keep myself in good shape, and that means lifting weights, and that means also doing cardio exercises, and I use all kinds of machines, but I can't see the screen for crap. But that's all right, we have to keep ourselves in shape. Well-balanced life is so important nowadays, especially with COVID around. So I preach and I also practice.
Nice. Well, Sam, anything else?
Well, thank you so much, Doug, for your time and all your listeners. I appreciate also having some time to speak to you and your listeners. So if you want to invite me again, you're welcome to do so. And hopefully the next time I'll speak a bit faster and a bit better.
Give me the web address and the telephone number one more time.
Sure. So you can reach us anytime at info@humanware.com. That's our email address. The website is www.humanwre.com. So humanware.com. And our toll-free number is 1-800-722-3393. So you can reach our tech support or customer service there.
Say something in French.
You want me to say something in
Sure.
French? Bonjour, comment allez-vous? Je suis vraiment content de vous voir aujourd'hui.
You're going to have to translate that now.
So I said, hi, how are you? I'm very happy to spend time with you today.
Okay. Well,
Did that sound French?
Yeah. Well, thank you, Sam, and thanks again to Humanware. I really appreciate it, and we'll try to have you on again in the future.
Thank you, Doug. Anytime.
You're welcome.
Thank you all.
And now we're going to throw it to Ellie for some news and updates.
Thank you, Doug. And to our listeners, thank you for dropping in today to listen to Share the Wisdom, where we bring you up-to-date knowledge of hot topics. Now to our first story. LSU's Angel Reese has declared for the 2024 WNBA draft. Her declaration comes days after losing to Caitlin Clark and Iowa in the March Madness Elite Eight. Reese made her announcement with Vogue magazine and projected to be a top 10 draft pick in the 2024 WNBA draft. Also speaking of Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, their matchup on Monday, April 1st drew 12.3 million viewers. The matchup between LSU and Iowa was deemed one of the most viewed matchups in women's basketball. In our next order of business, which is science, a strain of avian influenza has sickened and killed millions of birds around the globe and has also been found in cows. On April 1st, the U.S. Department of Agriculture confirmed that cows on a farm in New Mexico tested positive for a strain of bird flu called H5N1. Moving on to technology. The U.S. is suing Apple, accusing them of monopolizing the smartphone market. The U.S. government has filed a landmark antitrust lawsuit against Apple, saying that the company has maintained a broad, sustained and illegal monopoly over the smartphone market. Apple is the largest out of Meta, Google, and Amazon. However, this is not stopping the U.S. from going after the company. The U.S. government claims that Apple undermines apps, products and services that would otherwise make users less reliant on the iPhone. That's all for today's news. This has been Ellie from the Wisdom for the Blind Studios. Back to you, Doug.
Hi, I'm Christina Hepner.
And I'm Leslie Hoskins, and we're hosts of the Taking the Lead podcast from Leader Dogs for the Blind.
Our podcast provides insight into the blindness community and impactful stories from our clients.
At Leader Dog, we continue to be the answer for thousands who need our free services. These include guide dog training, white cane training, and more. Once clients complete training, they're reintroduced to a life of safety and independence.
Learn more at leaderdog.org.
Looking for a fitness app that is accessible for the blind? Well, look no further. Revision Fitness is just what the trainer ordered. This audio and text-based fitness program has a wide selection of fitness options, including cardio, strength, yoga, balance, flexibility, and even progressive relaxation sessions. Download Revision Fitness on the App Store or Google Play, or visit revisionfitnessapp.com and get a free 14-day trial for new users. Find your fit with Revision Fitness. And as always,
Revision Fitness.
Let's change the way we look at it.
You're listening to W4TB Radio from the Wisdom for the Blind Studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where we share some wisdom to help you navigate the seas to stay in calm waters. Please visit us on the web at w4tb.org or drop us an email at feedback@w4tb.org. You can also download the W4TB Radio app at the Apple Store or Google Play. Please share the knowledge and tell a friend. Now, back to the show.
Thanks again to Sam Adler and Humanware. This was a great podcast full of a lot of great information. And thanks to Ellie for the news. Thanks for Greg stepping in to be the producer. And thanks to our team of people who work behind the scenes. They do a great job. This is Doug Cram for Share the Wisdom. Take care.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Share. Please look out for the next episode ping soon, and visit us on the web at www.w4bv.org. This has been Share with your host, Mr. Douglas Cram. Produced by Wisdom for the Blind and VNS Productions, a division of VNS International.
Wisdom for the Blind is dedicated to doing everything we can for the blind and sight impaired. If you'd like to bless us with a donation to keep the website, the podcast, the webinars, and the radio station operating, we can't express how grateful we'd be. You can go to the website at w4tb.org. That's W4tb.org and hit the donation button. Or you can mail it to Wisdom for the Blind Incorporated. Attention donations. 1005 Marine Mile Boulevard, Suite 255, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33315. Wisdom for the Blind is a not-for-profit 501c3 organization. Remember, it's tax deductible. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts at Wisdom for the Blind. You're listening to W4TB Radio from the Wisdom for the Blind Studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where we share some wisdom to help you navigate the seas to stay in calm waters. Please visit us on the web at w4tb.org or drop us an email at feedback@w4tb.org. You can also download the W4TB Radio app at the Apple Store or Google Play. Please share the knowledge and tell a friend. Now, back to the show.